Hi, I'm Jennifer Hollick with the World War II Research and Writing Center and Finding the Answers Journey. It is Sunday morning, the 16th of September. I was going to say 1944, oh my gosh, but it's actually 2018, and I am sitting in the airborne camp in Soane, where they are doing Operation Market Garden commemorations this weekend, and I'm sitting in the command post. The camp is just waking up. It's still early. The officers are doing some things. Public isn't allowed in until noon. And the Germans are riding by in their motorcycles, so we may hear some noise from time to time. But it's been an interesting weekend, and I've spoken to quite a lot of people. One thing that's come up quite a bit is everything is not all black and white, and we tend to judge everything as either black or white, good or bad, right or wrong. And that's just not what it was in 1944, and that's just not what it is today. And what would it be like if we could just not judge everything? And one of the things that has come up quite a bit is, how do primarily Dutch families, because that's who I've been talking to today, deal with things from the war that their family did? It's, we talk a lot about the sins of the fathers where it comes to German families, and, do the kids and grandkids of German soldiers who were fighting during the war, are they to blame for what happened? And do they really need to make amends for what their parents did or grandparents did or aunts and uncles? And the same thing happens with the Dutch and other countries over here where, in some cases you're given a choice. You can either go off and fight for the Germans, or you can let your factory create for the Germans, or we can ship you off to a labor camp, or we can just kill you right now. As more families are looking into these things, because from what they're telling me, the stigma of not looking at it, just ignoring it, not talking about it, having people still be upset 2 generations later that some family member did something, those stigmas are being lifted, and now families are questioning, do I look into the past? Do I look into what, my great uncle did? Or did they work for the resistance? Did they work for the Germans? Were they forced? What happened? And a lot of people are afraid to do that because they're afraid of what they're going to find. They're afraid of, how that might change their world, or how that might change how they viewed their family members. But then there are others who are saying, you know what, I'm going to find out. Whatever that looks like, I'm going to find out. And my point of view is, why don't we start bringing this stuff into the light? Why don't we start looking at it, acknowledging that it happened? We can just step back and observe. We don't have to judge it because we weren't there and we didn't have to make those decisions. We didn't have to choose to maybe feed our family or be killed that day. It's not as black and white as everybody seems to think it is. So I encourage you, for whatever period of time you're afraid to look at your family's history because you think things are there that may have happened, or you're just not sure, I encourage you to take a look, to step into that darkness and bring it all into the light and see what you can learn from it and what can change because you know what happened. I think the longer we ignore these things and don't look at them, don't acknowledge them, the longer it's going to take for the world to change. So I encourage you to look into your history and see what you can find. If you need help with that, you can always contact me at the World War II Research and Writing Center or Finding the Answers Journey, and we can discuss a research project or a writing project, because some people have already done the research and they're just ready to write their book. If you would like a little facilitation to help you process what you've learned, to maybe go further, and then maybe to write a story or talk about it in schools or whatever, I can also help with that. So reach out, let's have a conversation, and let's see what we can change in our world.